Welcome, Pisces, to your June 2018 reading. My name is Donatella, and I will be doing your forecast this month. This month, your reading is divided into two portions. As always, I have written something in the beginning about your astrology chart, and the next portion is your tarot reading. If you find this resonating with you, if you feel the need to contact me, please feel free to reach me at donatellaempressofswords@gmail.com. Or if you are definitely interested in the different types of private readings that I offer, you can definitely reach me at the same email. And again, that email is donatellaempressofswords@gmail.com. Please also remember to like, share, and subscribe, so that way you can see the next following videos as there is to come. At the end of this month, there will be also a end of month culmination video as well. Okay, so as we left the season of Taurus, the sun was in Gemini, and that started on May 21st, and that will end on June 21st. We entered the season of Gemini. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. Planet Mercury is the sign of communication, and the sign of Gemini is the sign of duality. So we can find a duality in ourselves and others as it causes us to want to increase our communication. We can feel the need to be more social, talkative, and even whimsical. But remember, you can also feel very indecisive or even nosy. This is the time when you feel the need to strengthen your communication with active listening skills. This is where you can practice your mirroring skills, Pisces. After a person is done talking, it's really important that you play back what you have listened to, especially if it's an important matter with someone that you really care for. I've also learned that there's 3 easy step process whenever you want to solve any problem. And the 3-step process is: number 1, empathizing; number 2, reassuring; and number 3, resolving. And after a person is done speaking, it's best to let them listen. It's best to listen and let them finish first. When the person is done complaining, repeat back what you have learned and empathize if you see a frustration. Take yourself into a point where you can fully immerse yourself in another person's shoes with no judgment. Saying things like, "I understand that you went through a lot of pain. Wow, you do so much." Saying things like that, "Wow, you've done so much," or understanding that someone has went through a lot of pain. Basically, you're just agreeing to the frustration. My most favorite is when someone is complaining and someone else says, "I know, right?" That's my favorite. At this point, it's not about being right or wrong. Feelings are just sensors, like light sensors in the car saying that your engine light is on. You're just confirming that the engine is broken, or it just needs a repair, or you just needed a simple oil change. You can't just keep getting mad at your car whenever you have to get a single oil change, do you? Okay. Just acknowledge that nothing is personal. Even your body needs to go to the doctor at times. You can't be mad every time you have to nurture it. So number 2 is reassuring. Reassure the person that you care for that you are in this together. Actually verbally telling them we are in this together. Even if in actuality this is something that you wish from them, because mirroring plays a big part. Reassuring a person means you have the understanding of how important another's issues are. When you realize the more alliance you have, the more others work the same for you. You start realizing you can affect your own happiness, cause and effect. And you are willing to see you can affect your own happiness. Are you willing to see compromises for the best? Are you being compassionate enough to reassure someone? And number 3, the final step, is to resolve. By showing others that you are sensitive and strong enough to make magic happen, the final step automatically comes into play with much less effort than before. Processing the first 2 steps, empathizing and reassuring, allows the third final step to take in its own flow naturally. This all comes from your own mind, your own heart, your own spirit. This all comes from your own joy, positivity, and mapping yourself into the state that you want to be in. When there is a lack of positive communication, meaning no listening, no compromises, no security, judgment, blame, negativity, you find yourself naturally wanting and needing loopholes. And you feel even weaker as a result, Pisces. As a human being, when your needs are not met, even by a natural way of communication, it can make a person feel like they need to scavenger just to satisfy their own hunger. In that sense, we become animals when we go into starvation. Starvation can be a form of lack of air. Sometimes people just need a little bit of space. Food, water, sex, sleep, homeostasis, meaning fluctuations in not feeling balanced, so much to the point that it could even cause death. And excretion, whether it's your feelings that you need to purge or you need to excrete something you've always wanted to get rid of. But most people just need to talk to others to find out how to problem solve. And a lot of that time, people are just not intuitive. They're not aware of the direction that you want to go. You need to know that setting your GPS has to always be set on and also at a much higher frequency. Because one false move doesn't just affect you, it affects your family, your children, your stability, your finance, and other things that are important to you, Pisces. There can also be negative influences from many different facets of your life, and sometimes it's not just people, but even music, environment, and just the feeling of lack. Satisfying the hunger from loopholes can mean talking to others about internal issues, the parties that are outside of the relationship that can cause conflict, meaning family or friends, etc. Going to others for solution rather than the person that you have issues with. A lot of that can mean sometimes the answer is just compromise. Turning your feelings off with drugs and alcohol, using forms of numbing your feelings will block the intuitive nudges your body has been trying to tell you. There's a reason why your stomach feels funny when you don't feel good about something. These are sensors. And the more we block ourselves, it becomes more like a callus to heal a broken heart. Numbing yourself with shopping or gambling. As we find distractions, we cause ourselves to get into debt, adding more than just relationship issues, but now adding debt into the mix. Finding different sexual partners or even new family members and new friends to replace old wounds. Distracting yourself in ways that you don't have to feel pain. Social distractions, religious distractions, overeating, immersing oneself into work can also serve as a distraction. You will understand that distractions will have their own time and place, Pisces. This is just a temporary time of suspension. The question is, how long do you want to sit in it? Because also in June is also one of the most entertaining times of 2018. Most weddings are in the month of June. A lot of celebrations and gatherings are in the month starting during this time. Gemini in the deck of tarot is actually the Lovers and the Soulmate card. It's accepting the duality of two souls, both different but divinely paired. Like the salt and the pepper shaker, both perfectly set on the dinner table, always, however, but they completely are different, which is why they are so awesomely paired. When it comes to Gemini, because it is the season, they have an insatiable thirst for knowledge, especially in the communication department. It's more of an airy energy. A breeze of insight into being excited to accept what is. And when it comes to love and relationships, you have a sense of bird of a feather flock together. The idea of having a combination of a dynamic duo, or even a group collaboration of ideas. As you go through this month, think about the next group of relationships and friendships you want to regroup with. Will they be a positive force? Now that's up to you. This is a time when others can come together and have a chance to talk, open up the Pandora box, and see what they're willing to pull out and what they're willing to lock up. And when it comes to love, Venus is in Gemini from May 14th to June 9th, so this period had just passed. And it was the feeling of loving, poetic, and being romantic. Venus also influences the feelings and emotions. Venus is said to be the goddess of beauty, love, marriage, and relationship. Gemini has the insatiable thirst for knowledge, communication, so this will have a lot to do with how you feel about your own relationships. In June 2018, the new moon gives us good fortune, finding protection to yourself and your loved ones. It predicts good fortune, lasting happiness, and being well known. A new moon is a valuable time to set new goals, so this is an especially suitable time to start a new project. This is also an indicator that it will enhance your business. You will want to surround yourself with favored people, luxuries, pleasures, clothes, entertainment, and much more. The full moon on Thursday, June 28th, 2018 is at Capricorn, 6 degrees, okay? So some of you Pisces need to check if your moon is in Capricorn, because there is a majority of Pisces that their moon is in Capricorn. This will also affect you, especially when it comes to do with your emotions. And also during this time, Saturn is in retrograde. So Saturn is the ruler and the limiter, making rules and structures. And it's in its home with Capricorn. Capricorn represents through hard work, perseverance, you will find success and long-lasting results. The June 2018 full moon gives you the initiative and the resourcefulness, meaning that you will be restructured in a way that works for you, especially after the last month when the full moon was heightened in the truth. During the next 2 weeks, you are likely to feel more serious than usual and experience sadness, guilt, fear, restriction, or inhibition. However, you will be severely tested to make sure that you get what you truly desire. During this time, you will feel a positive push in your life and a willingness to break free. What are you choosing to stay with, and what are you choosing to walk away from? These positive factors are not as strong as Saturn retrograde. So right now, from April 17th all the way until September 6th, Saturn is in retrograde, meaning it's working backwards, meaning it's not going forwards anymore. So right now, it's restructuring anything that happened previously back in April. So if anything had happened in your life during that time, whether you had hardships, whether you had fallouts, whether you had issues, go back during that time, Pisces, and see what had happened. Everything is working backwards and restructuring itself out. It just has to work out a very slow process, because if one step is missed, it's not going to work out the way that it's going to work out. So after this is over, September will be a portal of major change, whichever way you started directing your life after April. So it's very important which way you're directing it now. But during this time, while we are still in Gemini season, it teaches us to accept the good and the bad, and it asks you to see the Pandora box in front of you. Realize what you're willing to sacrifice for, but unless you know the truth, and knowing the truth meaning allowing others to be vulnerable to know that there can always be a solution, if that is the position that you want for yourself. And when you sacrifice for someone, is it a true mirror? Are they willing to sacrifice for you? You must understand, to have someone like that, you must also open up in a very vulnerable way. An accepted, nurtured way, through the healing of communication with thorough compassion, empathy, and resolution. Now understand that if you are in a position of savior, you will mirror a partner just that way, however, in a different direction. Remember how I said that one is salt and the other is pepper. Accepting the beauty and difference, understanding what your intention is. And if you are in need, you will find others more that way. The reason for you meeting several different types of people is for that you can understand the lessons in life, so that you can heal, to learn unconditional love, and learn what cycles are causing lasting changes. Once you are secure in your energy in a much more positive way, you will only project what is more positive if you constantly feed it that water. Okay, so Pisces, now we are going to start your reading. And so, okay. Well, the first card that I have is the Hermit. It's basically telling me right now, you're keeping to yourself a lot. You're keeping a lot in your thoughts, and a lot of that is not being shared. There's a lot of things that is going in your mind. There's a lot of things that you're thinking about, but you really feel like you can't share it right now. And what's crossing it is the options of the world. You feel like I could take this direction, I could take that direction, I could do this, I could do that. But this is something that you feel like you really can't share with people because you feel like you don't know what the outcome is. And that's really the reason why you feel like you can't share this. Pisces, I feel like on your mind, there's something that maybe you can't share. Maybe this has to do with it. Maybe this doesn't have to do with it. I could, it could go either way. But you're seeing a bunch of cups of love just completely empty and poured out. Meaning, if there was a lot of relationships that you had previously in the past, they don't fuel you like they used to. They don't feel as fulfilling like it once did. And that has to do a lot with the past. Because in the past, you had gone through something that you felt was probably going to be everlasting, or you've been through a cycle where you've had relationships in the past with people, or even, love relationships, but it just feels like after a while, when you get to know the person, it's like you make this mirage of a person in the beginning, and then you kind of get to know them a little bit more, and then when you kind of feel like that, it makes you pull away with the affection that you want to give. So, if that makes any sense to you, Pisces, it's like a feeling of, like, I better know everything right now. I better, and which I understand, because I feel like you're the kind of person, as long as someone communicates with you, and if you have a question, as long as your question is answered, you have no problem. But I honestly feel like it could really have a lot to do with the lack of communication. And it could be based off of fear. It could be because sometimes a person feels like they cannot communicate how they're feeling with people because they don't know how this reaction is taken. But you're basing it off your past, is what I'm seeing here, Pisces. You're basing it off of what had gone off of the past, and it plays in your mind a lot. And you're thinking that this kind of rotation just happens every time. Because if this continues to happen, if this feeling continues to happen, it can lead to a lot of confusion. It can make you feel like, well, I have this, I have that, but the options don't feel as good as, if you look at it in a different perspective. But what I really do see you what I actually see you doing by the end of this month, after you see yourself being much more not enjoying the confusion portion of it, I see that you're starting to focus more on working. Or there could be a earth sign that is near you who is inspiring you a lot financially. So this could be a Virgo, this could be a Capricorn, or this could be a Taurus. There could be this person in your life right now that's inspiring you to work harder. They're inspiring you to make your life much better. And then when I see that you're working harder, when I see that you're securing yourself more financially stable, you start feeling like the emperor. You're not really thinking about, the lack of this and that. If you get past this position where you really stabilize yourself as the emperor, going towards in July, I see you starting something new with someone else, like a venture. You're going to be doing something that really excites you because you're going to take yourself to that position of power. You have to get to that point of making much more money. Once you stop thinking about the lack of love that you have, you're going to completely go through like this mode where you want to really think about being financially stable. Once you become financially stable, you're going to want to start exploring a little bit. You're going to want to see what the world has to offer. And after that stage, I have the last final card is the Sun. So I see you being very happy going towards mid-July. So I want you to start a little bit focusing on the finances, and then you're going to start noticing that things are going to start coming together a little bit much better for you. But this is the process that it's going to have to start out with. But if you keep thinking about your lack, Pisces, it's going to be a lot harder for you. So make sure that you keep yourself motivated, okay? Make sure that you keep telling yourself that if, as long as you get your finances taken care of, everything else will stabilize. You will feel much more stable yourself emotionally. And then you can give the love that you feel like, you know, you want to give. You'll feel like you have less focus on other things. You'll feel like you could concentrate a little bit better. But just a little bit of that will make you feel like a little bit more stable, where you could be happy, you could start having fun again, you could start exploring again. Okay guys, this will do it for your June reading. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys at the end of this month. I love you guys. Have a great one.